Hey everybody, got a video here for you today. And first, I'd just like to say Happy New Year. This is the first video I made in 2019. Hope everybody had a fun and safe New Year. And I have got a lot of things on the table that I'm looking into, but I just haven't been able to put together, finalize some videos. And I actually got too much on the table, and I just need to concentrate on individual things, and that's hard to do when you're working on 5 things that you find are really fascinating. And sometimes I have good information to share, but I just am not in the mood to make videos. And after 1,000 videos, I'm sure you can understand that. But this is something I wanted to talk about today because I think this is important. This is a great mystery. But I'm going to talk about El Dorado today because I haven't talked about it lately. And I think the last time I didn't have nearly as many subs. And welcome to all my new subscribers and my new subs. I make a lot of videos about a lot of different aspects of history. And I've had questions, what is your connection to ancient history? Did you go to school? No. All I've done is just done a lot of reading. And I think reading is the most important thing that somebody that has an ancient history channel can do, because there is a lot of things that you can discover just by reading the history of the very people who lived it and documented it. And that's what I've done. I read a lot, and I think that is a key. And I think the most important thing that an ancient history channel can do is bring forward new information, new relevant information, stuff that people have not heard of before, and that's what I try to concentrate a lot of my videos on. But the El Dorado myth is a famous one, and there's been no solid answer for it, but I think if you just put a little common sense to it, I think the story unfolds pretty clearly. Now, the El Dorado myth, let's just read here. It says, the legend of El Dorado was about a fabulously wealthy city of gold and the king who ruled over it. The story sprang up shortly after the first Spanish explorers landed in Central and South America. Local people told tales of a rich king who plastered his body with gold dust and then dived into a sacred lake to wash it off. Afterwards, he would toss gold into the lake as offerings to the gods. The Spanish called the king El Dorado, the gilded one, because his body was gilded or covered in gold. As the tale spread, the city he ruled came to be called El Dorado. Eventually, the meaning of the name changed to include any mythical region that contained great riches. An early version of the El Dorado legend placed the city near Lake Guadavita, not too far from modern Bogota, Colombia. The story was based on the Muisca people who performed a ceremony similar to that legend. The Muisca king, covered with gold dust, boarded a raft in the lake and made offerings to the gods. Both the Spaniards and Germans searched the region in 1538, but failed to find El Dorado. But I think the true mission to El Dorado was launched by the Spaniards, and I'll talk about that for a second. But they just didn't want anybody else to know about, because if you knew of a great city of gold, would you let the secret out of where it is? Of course not, you wouldn't. It says local inhabitants usually claimed El Dorado was somewhere far away in the hope that the Europeans would search elsewhere and leave them in peace. Well, actually, it was very far away, and this was a very ancient legend that went all over the South American region. But where did it start? Well, I think it's pretty clear. But El Dorado was actually far away. And where did the Spanish go in the year right after they heard about this original legend? But this is from BBC News, and this is a story that came out a couple weeks ago, and it rehashes work done underwater in Lake Titicaca. The Spanish, in the year after they found out about the El Dorado legend, they went down to a city that was once covered in gold on the shore of Lake Titicaca, and it says Tequina lies on the shore of Lake Titicaca, which covers more than 8,500 square kilometers and creates a natural border between Peru and Bolivia. It was just 5 minutes from here that a submerged remains of an ancient civilization was found 10 years ago. And the leader of the expedition says, we found more than 10,000 pieces like vessels, gold pieces, ceramic, and thanks to the investigations, it was possible to determine that they belonged to the Tiwanaku culture and pre-Inca civilizations. You have gold found, you have ruins found at the bottom of a lake that appear to be very ancient, but the city of Tiwanaku was once covered in gold. It's where the Spanish went right after they heard about the El Dorado legend, I think this is El Dorado. We call it Tiwanaku today. So in review, we seem to have an ancient legend that spread all over South America. The legend is centered around Bogota, Colombia, and Lake Guadavita. But the people there say El Dorado was somewhere far away. Down in Bolivia, Tiwanaku, once covered in gold, a sacred lake, an island where ceremonies were performed off of. Everything fits perfectly. I think Tiwanaku was El Dorado. Everything seems to fit. The deep history of Pumapunku and Tiwanaku, the sacred island, the sacred lake, the gold found, the offerings found off the shore of the island. The Spanish heard about El Dorado. They launched an expedition to Tiwanaku, but they were too late. It was already stripped of its gold. But that is my opinion where El Dorado was. I just thought I'd throw my envelope in the suggestion box on this topic. And there it is. Hope you thought this was cool, and you all have a very nice day.